people ask me if I have regrets, and I always give them the same answer. I say, look, no regrets. Life's been good, and I mean that. But here's the thing nobody asks about. The things that shaped me most weren't the trophies. They weren't the #1 ranking or the 4 Grand Slams. They were the losses, the moments I've never fully explained until now. You know, I grew up at the Bollettieri Academy in Florida, and that place was everything to me. It wasn't just a tennis school. It was the world I lived in. I was maybe 14, 15 years old, away from home, training every single day. You give everything to that place, everything. Nick Bollettieri was. I mean, he wasn't just a coach. He was the person who believed in you when nobody else did, or at least that's what I thought. Now, there were a lot of good players at that academy, and one of them was my roommate, Andre Agassi. And look, I understood that Andre was special. He had this electric quality about him. The crowd loved him. The sponsors loved him. Nick loved him. I was the other guy. I was the one grinding on the back courts, you know, trying to earn my place. And I didn't mind that. I really didn't, because I knew what I was doing. I knew who I was. Then came Paris, 1989, Roland Garros, 3rd round, and I'm facing Andre. I walk onto that court, and I look up into the stands, and there is my coach, Nick Bollettieri, sitting in Andre's box, not in a neutral seat, not somewhere in the middle. In Andre's box, I mean, I just stood there for a second, and something clicked inside me. Not anger, not exactly. It was colder than that. He had chosen another son, and you know what I did? I used it. I went out there and I won that match. And I left that academy not long after. I never looked back. But here's what I couldn't outrun, what I didn't see coming. 2 years later, I'm at the US Open, and I mean, this is the moment, you know? I just won Roland Garros. I'd beaten the defending champion on my way to the final. I walked onto that court in New York believing I was the best player in the world. And Stefan Edberg destroyed me completely. He was perfect that day, just perfect. I had no answer for what he brought, not for a single set. That was the only time I ever reached the final of the US Open. One shot, and I wasted it. You know, people think those 2 moments, Nick sitting in Andre's box and that afternoon in New York, you know, they think those are just early career bumps, growing pains. But they taught me something that took me years to fully understand. Nobody is coming to save you. Not your coach, not your reputation, not the fact that you worked harder than everyone else. You go out there and you either handle it or you don't. By 1993, I was on top of the world. I mean that literally. 2 French Opens, 2 Australian Opens, #1 ranking. I was 22 years old, and I had already reached the final of every single Grand Slam. And then Roland Garros came around again. You know, walking into that tournament as the 2-time defending champion, it felt different. I mean, it felt heavier than I expected. There's this weight that comes with being the man. Everyone is trying to knock off. And I don't think I fully understood that weight until it was already on my shoulders. My opponent in the final was Sergi Bruguera. And look, I had beaten him every single time we played. Every time. On clay, I was the favorite. I was supposed to win. I won the 2nd set. I was right there, and then somewhere in that 5th set, my body just started saying no. Not dramatically, not all at once. It stopped cooperating. Bruguera's ball was heavy, you know, kicking high to my backhand, and I kept grinding, kept pushing, but I mean, I had nothing left. He earned it. I want to be clear about that. He absolutely earned it. But what I didn't tell anyone that day was that I knew right there on that court that something had changed. not just physically, something deeper than that. I couldn't name it then, but I know now what it was. Then a month later, Wimbledon final, Pete Sampras, and I mean, that was the year I reached the final of the Australian Open, Roland Garros, and Wimbledon in the same season. You know how rare that is? I mean, only a handful of players in the entire history of the sport had ever done that. And I came home from that summer with nothing. I lost to Pete in 4 sets. And, I can sit here and talk about tactics, about grass courts, about his serve. But the truth is simpler than that. I was running on empty. I didn't have it anymore. And then everything kind of unraveled. I lost in the 4th round of the US Open that fall. Then I lost in the 1st round in Paris. And a reporter asked me how I was doing, and I said, right now my best surface is my bed, and I meant it. But the moment that really told the story was at the Masters Cup in Frankfurt. I was playing a changeover, and I reached into my bag and I pulled out a novel, and I just started reading. Now, people laughed. They thought it was eccentric. They thought it was Jim Courier being funny, but I mean, that was not me being funny. That was me disappearing. That was me sitting in the middle of a professional tennis match and having absolutely nothing left to give. I had burned through something I didn't know was finite. The word people use is slump, and I hate that word. A slump is temporary. A slump means you'll be back to normal next week. What I was going through was different. It was a kind of emptiness I couldn't train my way out of, and I had spent my entire life training my way out of everything. That was the last Grand Slam title I ever won, and I didn't even know it yet. Standing there on that court in Paris, I had no idea that was the last one. There are 2 matches against Pete Sampras that I still think about. Not because I lost. I lost to Pete plenty of times. That was just tennis. But these 2 were different. These 2 were something else entirely. The first one was the Australian Open, 1995, Melbourne, quarterfinal. I was in good shape that day. I mean, I took the first 2 sets. I was controlling the match. Pete was the defending champion, the #1 player in the world, and I had him exactly where I wanted him. And then something happened that I had never seen before on a tennis court. Pete started crying. I mean, not just tearing up, not just emotional. He was weeping openly right there on the court, and nobody in that stadium, nobody knew why. We found out later that his coach, Tim Gullickson, had been diagnosed with a brain tumor during the tournament and had to be flown home. Pete was out there alone carrying all of that, and it just broke through. Now I'm standing on the other side of the net, and I mean, what do you do? This is my friend. We had grown up together in this sport. I walked up toward the net and I said, "Are you all right, Pete? We can do this tomorrow if you want." The crowd laughed a little, and I mean, I wasn't trying to be funny. I wasn't playing mind games. I genuinely didn't know what else to say. But here's what happened next, and this is the part that stays with me. That moment, my words, the crowd laughing, it snapped Pete back. I saw it happen. Something clicked behind his eyes, and he just locked in. And from that point on, I couldn't touch him. I started cramping. Pete started serving aces, and I lost a match I was winning. Would I do it differently? I mean, I honestly don't know. I think about that sometimes, but I don't think I could have stayed silent. That's not who I am. The second match was Roland Garros, 1996, and this one hurt differently. Tim Gullickson had passed away just weeks before the tournament. Pete came to Paris in grief. He had barely played on clay that year. I mean, practically no preparation. and I was the two-time champion on that surface. I won the first 2 sets, and then in the 4th set, I was up a break, serving one more game away from closing it out. 2 break points against me. I saved the first one, and then Pete hit a forehand return down the line that I still see in my sleep sometimes. Just like that, the momentum shifted. He won that set. He won the 5th. And I stood there watching him serve for the match, and I turned my back to the court. I couldn't watch. And I remember saying out loud, I mean, I just said it to nobody in particular, the guy's in his grave and he's serving 190-mile-an-hour bullets. And then he served an ace, match over. You know, people talk about Pete Sampras and his greatness, and I agree with all of it. But what those 2 matches taught me was something I couldn't learn any other way. Pete always had something bigger than tennis to fight for. In Melbourne, it was Tim's illness. In Paris, it was Tim's memory. And I just had a tennis match. I was trying to win a tennis match. That's not an excuse. It's just the truth. Some days your best isn't enough, not because you weren't good enough, but because the other person found something inside themselves that goes beyond skill, beyond preparation, beyond everything you can train for. Those 2 losses didn't just cost me matches. They showed me exactly what I was missing. Here's the thing nobody tells you about being number 1 in the world. The same thing that gets you there, it's the same thing that eventually breaks you. I had one mode, push. I mean, that was it. Every day, every week, every year. Push harder, train more, run more, hit more balls. That was how I got good. That was all I knew. And for a while, for a good long while, it worked beautifully. But at some point, your body starts keeping score. I didn't get one catastrophic injury. I didn't tear something or break something that ended everything overnight. It was more like erosion, slow, quiet. You wake up one morning and you're a little more tired than yesterday, and then the next morning you're a little more tired than that, and then one day you realize you've been tired for years. I kept pushing because that was the only tool I had. I didn't know how to rest. I didn't know how to step back and let my body actually recover. The tour doesn't stop. The ranking points don't wait for you. And I stayed on the wheel. I kept running. What I needed, and I only understand this now looking back, what I needed was to get off the hamster wheel and take a breath. I already knew how to play tennis. I didn't need more hours on the practice court. I needed to be fresh. I needed to show up to a tournament actually ready to compete, not just going through the motions because my legs remembered the patterns. I announced my retirement in the spring of 2000. I was 29 years old. And here's the part that surprised even me. After I retired, I was living in Orlando, and Pete Sampras was living nearby. And he called me one day and said, hey, you want to come hit? And I said, sure. And I went out there and we practiced together for maybe a week. Just the 2 of us, no tournament, no ranking points, no pressure. And it was the most fun I'd had on a tennis court in years, maybe a decade. I realized right there, I had never lost the love for the game, not once. What I had lost was the ability to escape the pressure of it long enough to remember why I loved it in the first place. That's the real tragedy. Not the losses, not the burnout. It's that the thing I sacrificed everything for, I was still capable of enjoying it. I just ran out of room to breathe before I figured that out. You know, I look back now at that kid from Dade City, Florida, the one who quit baseball, left school, moved into the Bollettieri Academy, and I understand him completely. He just wanted to see how good he could be. That was it. That was the whole thing. And he found out, we both did. The Bollettieri betrayal, the US Open final I couldn't win, the Roland Garros crown I lost and never got back, the night Pete cried and I handed him the match, the comeback that never came. None of those things broke me. They built me, and the guy sitting here right now, the one who can talk about all of it without flinching, he's the one who came out the other side. That's enough for me.